Everyone knows the Corvette was the king of American performance in the 80s, or so they thought. But hidden beneath the spotlight were machines no one saw coming. Cars that didn't roar for attention, but quietly rewrote the rules of speed. Built in backrooms, tuned in secret labs, or imported with stealth, these underdogs didn't have flashy reputation, just raw power. While the world drooled over Vetus, these forgotten legends were already across the finish line. They came from Germany, Japan, even Detroit's overlooked corners, packing numbers that made the Corvette sweat in silence. This isn't just a list, it's a revelation. Because sometimes the cars you forget are the ones rewriting history. And today, we're bringing those beasts back into the spotlight. The 1980s were a wild time in the automotive world. America was in love with horsepower, leather seats, and that iconic Corvette silhouette with its shark-like body and thunderous V8. The Corvette became a poster child for speed and style. It was the dream car, bold, loud, and unmistakably American. But here's the truth. Not all speed wore a Corvette badge. Beneath the mainstream, a different breed of performance machines roamed the streets. They didn't brag, they didn't star in magazine covers. But on the track, or the right stretch of empty road, they could humiliate even the most aggressive Veta. Some were luxury coupes, others were tuned imports, and a few straight-up monsters hiding as plain sight. These were the wolves in steel clothing, underestimated, overlooked, and forgotten by time. Until now. Car number 1, 1987 Buick GNX. In an era of neon colors and booming V8s, no one expected a Buick to be the fastest thing on the street. But the 1987 Buick GNX wasn't your grandpa's cruiser. It was a blacked-out missile. Born from a secret collaboration between Buick and McLaren Performance Technologies, the GNX looked like an ordinary Regal until you hit the gas. Under the hood, a turbocharged 3.8-liter V6, intercooled and vicious. It churned out 276 horsepower and 360 pound-feet of torque, though insiders say it was actually closer to 300-plus horsepower. Deliberately underrated by Buick. 0 to 60, just 4.6 seconds. Quarter mile, 13.4 seconds, factory stock. Faster than a Corvette. Faster than a Ferrari 328. Faster than most people were ready for. But what made the GNX a legend wasn't just speed, it was stealth. No spoilers, no screaming engine, just matte black menace and turbo hiss. Only 547 were ever made, each numbered, each brutal. Today, it's not just a collector's item, it's a reminder that sometimes the fastest car at the light is the one nobody suspects. Car number 2, 1986 Porsche 944. Turbo. It didn't shout, it didn't roar. But the 1986 Porsche 944 Turbo played a different game. Precision, balance, and brutal surprise. When Americans thought of sports cars in the 80s, they pictured muscle and noise. The Corvette delivered both. But the 944 Turbo, it was a sniper in a world of cannons. With a front-engine, rear transaxle layout, it had near-perfect weight distribution. The turbocharged 2.5-liter inline-4 made 220 horsepower, but thanks to its light frame and Porsche engineering, it could hit 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds, beating the Corvette of that year by nearly half a second. It wasn't just quick, it was clinical. On winding roads, the Corvette understeered. The 944 danced. In corners, it didn't fight back. It whispered back. Most people saw it as the cheap Porsche. They didn't know it was secretly a track assassin. And while others flexed their muscle in straight lines, the 944 Turbo carved its name into racetrack asphalt. Today, it's remembered by purists as the car that embarrassed giants without ever raising its voice.
Car number 3, 1985 Lotus Esprit Turbo. It looked like something James Bond would drive, and he actually did. But beyond the fame and the sleek, low-slung wedge body, the 1985 Lotus Esprit Turbo was a silent killer, one that could leave a Corvette gasping in its mirrors. Lightweight, mid-engined, and razor-sharp, the Esprit Turbo wasn't about brute force. It was about precision engineering and just enough madness. Its 2.2-liter turbocharged inline-4 produced 215 horsepower, which doesn't sound like much until you realize the whole car weighed just over 2,600 pounds. That translated to a 0 to 60 time of 5.4 seconds, faster than the 1985 Corvette. And while the Vette flexed raw muscle, the Esprit moved like a blade through silk, its steering alive, its body glued to the road. Inside, it was tight, handcrafted, exotic. Not comfortable, not easy, just thrilling. Lotus built it for drivers, not posers. And while the Corvette sold by the thousands, the Esprit Turbo remained a rare British outlaw, never loud, never common, and always faster than it looked. Car number 4, 1981 BMW M1. Before M3s roamed the streets and M5s ruled the Autobahn, there was the M1, the car that started it all. But while the world fixated on Corvettes and Camaros, BMW quietly built a mid-engine supercar that left them all behind. The 1981 BMW M1 was born from a failed racing project and a Ferrari-level ambition. Its design? Penned by Giugiaro. Its engine? A 3.5-liter straight-six, naturally aspirated, pushing 273 horsepower and revving like a chainsaw in a symphony hall. It launched from 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds, quicker than the Corvette of its time. Top speed? 160 miles per hour, territory most American cars could only dream of. But the M1 wasn't just about speed, it was about balance. Mid-engine layout, precise steering, and a purity that only analog driving could give. Still, it wasn't understood in its time. Too expensive, too exotic for BMW's sedan-loving fans. Only 453 units were ever built. Today, it's revered as a sacred icon. Back then, it was a ghost, a supercar faster than a Corvette, but hidden in plain sight.
Car number 5, 1984 Ferrari 308 GTS QV. It was the car that hung on bedroom walls, starred in Magnum PI, and turned heads at every intersection. But the 1984 Ferrari 308 GTS QV wasn't just style. It had secrets under the hood that the Corvette didn't see coming. By the mid-80s, Ferrari had upgraded the 308 with 4 valves per cylinder, hence the name QV, or Quattro Valvole. The result? A high-revving 2.9-liter V8 producing 240 horsepower, paired with a lightweight body and a chassis tuned for aggression. 0 to 60, 5.7 seconds, beating the 1984 Corvette's 6.4 seconds. But numbers don't tell the whole story. The 308 was about feel. Each gear shift clicked like a rifle bolt. Each corner begged you to push harder. While the Corvette was raw and powerful, the 308 was a scalpel, surgical, elegant, deadly. It didn't need brute force. It used finesse, precision, and a growl that came from the soul of Maranello. This Ferrari wasn't loud by modern standards, but in the 80s, it quietly outclassed the American icon, proving that sometimes the smoothest strike hits hardest. Car number 6, 1989, Nissan Skyline GT-R R32. In America, most people hadn't even heard of it. It wasn't in showrooms, it wasn't in magazines. But in Japan, something monstrous was waking up, and it was about to rewrite the rule book. The 1989 Nissan Skyline GT-R, known as the R32, wasn't just fast, it was a revolution. With its twin-turbocharged 2.6-liter inline-six engine, RB26DETT, it pumped out 276 horsepower, though in reality, it made much more. But raw power was only part of the story. It came equipped with a Tessa ETS all-wheel drive and Super Hikers four-wheel steering, giving it grip and agility far beyond anything from America at the time. 0 to 60, around 4.7 seconds. Quarter mile, 13.1 seconds. That crushed the Corvette, but Americans didn't know, because the GT-R was forbidden fruit, never officially sold in the U.S. It dominated Japan's racing circuits, earning the name Godzilla from Australian journalists, because it destroyed everything in its path. While Corvettes roared for attention, the GT-R slipped through the shadows, colder, smarter, faster, and by the time the West found out, it was already legend. Car number 7, 1983, Delorean DMC 12 Turbo, prototype. Most people remember the Delorean as a sci-fi icon. Back to the Future, gull-wing doors, stainless steel skin. But few know about the version that nearly changed its fate, the one that could have outrun a Corvette. In 1983, just before DeLorean's collapse, a limited number of turbocharged prototypes were developed in partnership with Legend Industries in New York. These experimental DMC-12s featured twin turbochargers strapped to the underpowered PRV V6, pushing it from 130 horsepower to over 200 horsepower. The result? 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds, faster than the Corvette that year, and a massive leap from the sluggish 10-second original. The Turbo DeLorean had sharper handling, improved suspension, and finally, the performance to match its futuristic look. But it came too late. DeLorean went bankrupt before the Turbo model ever made it to production. Only a few prototypes survived, whispering of what could have been. It was the perfect storm, style, speed, and scandal. And in another timeline, the DMC-12 Turbo might have been the car that silenced its critics and left the Corvette in the dust. Car number 8, 1989, Pontiac Turbo Trans Am. It didn't wear a Ferrari badge. It didn't come from Japan. It came from Pontiac. And yet in 1989, this Firebird-based sleeper humiliated almost every car in the street, including the Corvette. Meet the 1989 Pontiac Turbo Trans Am, a limited edition monster built to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Trans Am. Under the hood, not the usual V8. Instead, it borrowed the 3.8-liter turbocharged V6 from the Buick GNX, tuned for even more performance and mated to a lightweight body. The result? 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds, quarter mile in 13.4 seconds, faster than the 1989 Corvette, faster than a Ferrari 348. even faster than the mighty GNX it came from. It was chosen to pace the Indy 500, but it didn't just lead the race. It redefined what American muscle could be, but Pontiac never capitalized on it. Only 1,555 units were built. No marketing push, no follow-up, just a legendary flash in the dark. Today, it's a collector's treasure and a brutal reminder that sometimes the fastest cars are the ones that no one took seriously until they vanished. Car number 9, 1985 Audi Quattro Sport. Before Quattro became a badge on family SUVs, it was a war cry, a symbol of rebellion in the world of racing. And in 1985, Audi unleashed a street-legal version of its rally dominator, the Audi Quattro Sport. This wasn't just another European coupe. It was a Group B rally car in disguise, born from fire and tuned for fury. Under the hood sat a 2.1-liter turbocharged inline-5 that screamed like a banshee and delivered 302 horsepower to all four wheels. Thanks to its lightweight Kevlar body and permanent all-wheel drive, it hit 0 to 60 in just 4.8 seconds. That made it quicker than the Corvette, quicker than many Ferraris, and quicker than most people could handle. But it wasn't built for comfort. It was raw, loud, and twitchy. Designed to conquer gravel, snow, and tarmac with equal madness. Only 214 units were built to meet homologation requirements. It was rare then. It's a unicorn now. The Quattro Sport didn't just beat Corvettes. It rewrote what a performance car could be. Not with size, not with tradition, but with bold engineering and rally-bred rage. Car number 10, 1986, Mercedes-Benz 190E 2.316. Cosworth. Mercedes-Benz doesn't usually build street brawlers, but in the mid-1980s, they let Cosworth, a legendary British racing firm, loose on their humble 190E. What came out wasn't luxury, it was lightning in a tailored suit. The 1986 Mercedes-Benz 190E 2.316 looked like a compact executive car, but under the hood, it was a racing homologation special, born to take on BMW's M3 and punch far above its class. The Cosworth tuned inline-4 made 185 horsepower, but that wasn't the point. It wasn't about brute strength. It was about balance, engineering, and control. 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds, but faster in the real world thanks to insane cornering grip, razor-sharp steering, and a dogleg 5-speed gearbox made for the track. It dominated touring car championships, humbled rivals on twisty roads, and outdrove Corvettes on everything but straight lines. While the world saw a small Mercedes sedan, real drivers saw a secret weapon, one that didn't need to shout to be heard. Today, it's remembered as one of the finest handling machines of its time, and the ultimate proof that speed doesn't always wear muscle. Not every legend comes with a roar. Some whisper, some fly past without warning, no burnouts, no fanfare, just raw, undeniable performance. These 10 cars from the 1980s weren't always celebrated. Some were mocked, some were misunderstood, some barely made it off the assembly line. But they all had one thing in common. They were faster than the King, the Corvette, America's automotive icon. They came from unexpected places, Japan, Germany, Britain, even overlooked corners of Detroit. They challenged norms, they broke rules, and they proved that true speed doesn't always come with a badge or a reputation. Today, They're more than machines. They're stories about underdogs, missed opportunities, and raw brilliance that the world was too distracted to notice. So, the next time someone tells you the Corvette ruled the 80s, just smile. Because now you know the truth. And if one of these cars caught you by surprise, hit that like button, drop a comment below. Which forgotten beast deserves a comeback? And don't forget to subscribe for more automotive legends you were never supposed to remember. Because this is where the real stories live.